Hi everybody, I am Zehra and today I'm going to talk about chapter 3 of critical thinking. I suppose you are all ready, then let's get started. If we begin with what is deductive and inductive arguments, traditionally arguments have been divided into two types as deductive and inductive. Deductive arguments intend to prove their conclusions with inescapable logic. On the other hand, inductive arguments try to show that their conclusions are plausible or likely given premises. Deductive arguments claim to provide logically conclusive grounds for their conclusion. I mean, they attempt to show that their conclusion must be true given premises asserted, whereas inductive arguments simply claim that their conclusions are likely or probable. But how can we tell whether an argument is deductive or inductive? Sometimes it can be challenging to distinguish deductive and inductive arguments. Fortunately, there are four tests to distinguish them easily. The first test is indicator test. When we see indicator words such as certainly, definitely, absolutely, conclusively, it logically follows that this entails that this type of indicator is deductive indicator. On the other hand, when we see indicators such as probably, likely, it is plausible to suppose that, it's reasonable to assume that, one would accept that, and so on, is inductive indicator. But unfortunately, there are two limitations of this test. The first limitation is every sentence does not contain indicator words. The second one is arguer often use this indicator improperly, so it can be deceptive for sometimes. When it comes to the other test, it is strict necessity test. It's inductive arguments. And here's two examples to understand more clearly. The first is Alan is a father, so Alan is a male. It is a deductive because is there any possibility that Alan is father and he is female? Of course no. Conclusion follow with strict logical necessity. Other example is Jill is a 6-year-old girl. Therefore, Jill can not run a mile in 1 minute. Is this sentence deductive or inductive? Although it seems like it's deductive, it's not, because it's not logical contradiction in thinking that there could be a 6-year-old girl who can run that fast. And when it comes to another test, which is a common pattern test, we can use it to determine which kind of reasoning are dealing with this type of arguments are always deductive. For example, if A, then B, B, therefore B. If we give an example, if we are in Paris, then we are in French. We are in Paris, so we are in French. And we can mention about 5 common patterns of deductive reasoning. The first one is hypothetical syllogism. A syllogism is a 3-line argument that it consists of 2 premises and 1 conclusion. For example, if I want to keep my financial aid, I had better study hard. I do want to keep my financial aid, therefore I had better study hard. The second one is categorical syllogism. It can be defined as 3-line argument in which each argument begins with word all some or no. For example, all oaks are trees, all trees are plants, so all oaks are plants. The third one is argument by elimination. It means that you are trying to rule out various possibilities until only a single possibility remains. For example, either Joe walked to library or he drove, but Joe did not drove the library, therefore Joe walked to the library, And when it comes to common patterns of inductive reasoning, there are 6 common patterns of inductive reasoning. Let's begin with inductive generalization. Inductive generalization is a statement that attributes some characteristic to all or most members of given class. For example, all dinosaurs' bones so far discovered have been more than 65 million years old. Therefore, probably all dinosaur bones are more than 65 million years old. The other one is predictive arguments. A prediction is a statement about what may or will happen in the future. For example, most US presidents have been tall, therefore probably the next US president will be tall. And when it comes to causal argument, a causal argument asserts or denies that something is the cause of something else. For example, I can't log on, the network must be down. And when it comes to argument from analogy, comparison of two or more things that are claimed to be alike. For example, Hershey Park has a thrilling roller coaster ride. Dorney Park, like Hershey Park, is a great amusement park. Therefore, probably Dorney Park also has a thrilling roller coaster ride. And when it comes to deductive validity, there are some things that we should consider into. For example, the conclusion follows necessarily from the premises. And the second one is the premises provide logically conclusive grounds for the truth of the conclusion. And the third is it's logically inconsistent to assert all the premises as true and deny the conclusion. And all deductive arguments are either valid or invalid for the same reason. All deductive arguments are either 100% valid or 100% invalid. And it's a diagram to understand more deeply the subject. That was my presentation. Thank you for listening.